One important observation to make is that, as you can see on the screen, now when we made the initial purchase and then made an amendment, we noticed that two asset actions were created, one for the initial sale, one for the upsell, and correspondingly, two asset state periods were created, which is one on the 1st of May and then when the amendment happened, which is 1st of August. One thing for you to note, which is both important from an exam perspective as well as from understanding the behavior of Agentforce Revenue Management or RCA, is that if the amendment happens on the same date the initial sale is made, or if multiple amendments happen on the same date, effective same date, then there will be multiple asset action records created to indicate those changes, but the asset state period will be dependent on when these changes are effective. Meaning, in a similar example here, if suppose the customer purchased one quantity and on the same day after purchasing, let's say a few hours down the line, they called up and then said, hey, I need 5 more effective immediately, then you will notice that two asset actions will be created, but only one asset state period will be created because the state period essentially has not changed. So let's go ahead and study that behavior. I'm going to do one quick demo to showcase that. And that's important for you to understand because it is not a one-to-one in the sense for every amendment an asset state period may or may not be created depending on when it is effective from. Okay, I hope I made myself clear here, but let's see this in action and things will become much more clearer. All right, I'm on the Edge MX account here. So let me go ahead and create a new code and let me just say test for multiple amendments. Okay, and we'll just select the account as Edge MX. Let me go ahead and add a product. So I'll select software catalog and select one of the existing products. So let's say we go ahead and add the Google Workspace. It's a subscription product. Now this is a newer org. You can see that the start date and other subscription related fields are not here, but let's not worry about it. Let's assume that we initially go with a 1 month subscription and then we make the changes through the amendments. So we'll keep the quantity as is. Let me go ahead and create an order. Just the bare minimum that we need to create the asset and initiate the amendment. Okay, order record created. Let me go ahead and activate this order. And now we should have the asset record created against the account. We refresh. There you go. Alrighty, so we have the asset record created. And there's one quantity, $25 monthly recurring. And now we see that one asset action has been created for the initial sale. And there is a record for the asset state period. Perfect. At this point, let's go back to the account and initiate an amendment. Let's suppose that the customer calls back and says, hey, actually we wanted 5 quantities. Okay. So we say, okay, no problem. We'll initiate an amendment. Let the amendment date be today's date. We'll just say submit. So an amendment code is created behind the scenes. And let's go ahead and change the quantity. Let's say we want the quantity, additional quantity of 4 to be added so that totally the customer has 5 quantities. So we should have $100 line item here, which is perfect. Let me go ahead and save and take this amendment code through order creation and asset creation. All right, so we'll go ahead and create the order. Okay, order 1, 2, 3 created. Let's go ahead and activate it. So now what should happen? A new asset action was initiated, right? So we have an amendment. So a new asset action record must be created, but the asset state period should not change because it's the same as the initial sale period. So going back to the account, we have the asset. Let me go ahead and view dashboard. So total quantity is 5. Okay. And if you go to the related list, now you see that a new asset action has been created for upsell, but the state period has not changed. Okay, I hope this is making sense. Again, the start and end date here is effective 23rd of July for a period of 1 month. So once again, if we do multiple amendments here, right? If I go back to the count and then say that, okay, we need to add 5 more licenses of this. I just select this, amend, same date, and increase the quantity or make the quantity here as 5. Once again, as we know, for those coming from a Salesforce CPQ background, this quantity would have already listed as 5 in Salesforce CPQ, and we would have had to provide 10 to indicate that the end result for the customer was 10 quantities that they would want to have. But here we just need to provide the actual quantity that we are increasing. So it should be 125 here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and save. Create a new order. Order 124, we will go ahead and activate it. Once again, the same behavior is what we should see, which is a new asset action must be created, but the asset state period should not be created. There you go. One more upsell happened with 5 quantities. So totally the quantity is now is 10. That's shown here. And the asset state period has not changed. So when does the asset state period change? Now, if we go back and initiate an amendment once again, but this time around, we say the amendment date is not effective today, but effective 1st of next month. Now the state period should change in addition to the asset action that's going to be listed. So now, instead of adding a few quantities, let's say the customer wants to reduce a few quantities. So I'm going to say -3. Okay. So should have, this has been prorated now. So we'll just go ahead and save this. Create an order. Activate the order. And now we should see a new asset state period also created. So let's go to the account. Assets. There you go. A new asset state period has been created, which is effective 1st of August, and a downsell related asset action has been created. Okay, so I encourage you to go ahead and play around with a few combinations so that you really understand what is happening behind the scenes and how the asset actions and asset state periods are created based on the various amendments or cancellations that you initiate.